Brand. Retro overlay.
Can you please look up this thing?
See if we can figure out something.
And waiting for everyone to head in here. Return to dashboard. We're still on 0. No one made it. Oh, Lisa's here. Oh, I feel like I need to apologize again for my weird mood. Because it is a weird mood. Okay, that worked. Still says only one person is here and it's me. Like, I'm not even joking. StreamYard, literally. I wish I could show you this. It says live viewers. Vicky McCullum. Drove myself. Oh, did it not work? Or was it just that it took too long? And so you click the clickety click. Let's cut out some of these. There's way too many tabs open here. Move that to there. Okie dokie. I went back a little bit yesterday so that those who had to leave early could just get back to where we were. It is 13:36 here. So at the o'clock is the next stretch. Hold that thought. Hold that thought because I need to add, before I do that, I need to add the summary in the description because people's are going to come in and say, I don't know what this is about. Data is currently unavailable. Why? Just give me the summary. That's all I need. Don't need anything else. Okay, where are we? Where are we? And I'm so tired. Can't think of a one-syllable word to do with focusing and tired. Okay. Witness's testimony explained in English. Done that, done that. I need to turn off the heart. Why is it not staying off? Comment moderation. Should I moderate you? Including my moderators. Okay. I am, Steve. I'm going to work now. And that is what we need to do to o'clock. Deal? Focus time for 22 minutes. When I changed the mirror, I think I put some kind of touch up. I did. I clicked touch up. I don't like it when it's like blur. Deal. Okay, let's do this. Closed captions. Where did we have them yesterday? Up the top. Okay. Now this. Boop.
You forget it at the time.
No, I did not forget what happened. It's clear to me.
Now, I was curious when I asked you on 2 occasions, could there have been shots fired before you woke up? And you were absolutely to the point saying no. How come you said no? You were sleeping.
Milady, I just know of 4 shots that took place that evening, and I heard those 4 shots. So if there were other shots before I woke up, I don't know about it, and I don't think it was presented to court that there were more than 4 shots that evening.
So you say, with your ex post facto knowledge, what you heard afterwards, there were only 4 shots.
I heard 4 shots.
You say afterwards, you were told that only 4 shots were fired, and you heard 4.
Milady, what I'm referring to is during the pre-trial on the radio also, the defense stated they also say there were 4 shots. I heard 4 shots. No one else mentioned that there were 8 shots or 10 shots that evening. I only heard people speaking about 4. I heard 4 shots. So I couldn't have heard other shots before I woke up because I only heard 4 shots. And that I heard after the call I made. So there couldn't have been other shots. That's all I heard. I can only state what I heard to the court. I heard 4 shots.
Let's look, and I can't say they're telling the truth. Mr. Nell must call them, and we will call witnesses just to test it. Because the police, in its investigation, managed to get a number of statements from people in the neighborhood, in that same estate, and then, of course, your statement as well. And to test the reliability of your evidence. And again, you know, they may be all lying. Captain van Aert may have manipulated his statements. I don't know. So I can't stand in for the truth of that. But let's go through it, and I would like to invite your comment to it. There's a witness, Mr. Stipp. He's a radiologist. He says in his statement, and I'm just dealing now with shots and could be interpreted as shots. That's where I'm going. But what I'm going to do before I deal with that, and I know you don't believe him because you said his statement that the bail could not be, but hear me out for a second without being judgmental. Just hear me out. His version is the following. He fired 4 shots. At some point in time, when he realized that it might have been Reeva, and when he realized devastation caused by it, he was screaming for help, and he was screaming. He opened the doors, even the slide doors, to scream. And after that, not all the details, trying to kick the door, first put his legs on, trying to kick the door, he bashed the door with the cricket bat so hard that he broke the door. He hit it 3 times. That he can remember 3 times. We have experts with state. We have the pieces of the door. We have the cricket bat. We have experts saying that the damage to the door is consistent with the cricket bat. So we know that. So that is where I'm going to. And we know that, and I put it to you, it's a long sentence and I apologize for it, that on test, people will say that the bashing of the door would resemble, when you hear from a distance gunshot, it's hard. You understand? It's not soft hitting. You hit the door to break. You understand that? So with that in mind, there's Mr. Stipp, the radiologist. He may be wrong. He woke up by hearing 3 shots. Could have been 4, but we know it's 3. The man was sleeping. Then there's a time delay. He heard the man screaming. Help, help, help. You heard that, the man screaming.
I heard the man screaming after I heard the woman screaming.
Yeah, you heard the woman screaming and then you heard the man screaming, one following the other. And he was also anxious, I assume.
The emotion in the voice was a bit different. She was fear-stricken.
But was it just a help, 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 I'm pretending help, or was it shouting for help?
I won't be able to say. I mean, that question, milady, we'll have to ask Mr. Pistorius for that.
Yes.
But what I heard was help, help, help. I heard
Yes.
that.
And I made
Milady, I feel terrible, but I have to object. I've got Mr. Stipp's statement in front of me, and the way it was put to the witness is not true. I'm sure Mr. Roux is trying to paraphrase, but the way I read it, ek het 3 weerskote gehoor, het was kort na mekaar, ek het onmiddellik uit die bed opgestaan na die kamerbalkon gegaan, ek het onmiddellik nadat ek op die balkon gekom het, gehoor hoe 'n vrou gil. Daar was ongeveer 3 gille. There's nothing that was now put to this witness, my lady.
What was the question?
Should I be trying to translate again? Or do you want to hear it as the judge hears it? Because I wasn't listening at that point. Like to translate. I was listening, but I wasn't like actively going, oh, this means this.
The question again.
I worked with Mr. Stips. I'm sorry, I worked with Mr. Stips' explanation to a witness, Johan Stander. Let me get the other one. My mistake. He also made a statement to Mr. Stander about it. Let me correct it. I apologize. That's indeed so. Let me.
And it might also be a good idea just to say it in Afrikaans, what it says.
Yes,
And then that will be translated
It was the
into
one,
English.
yes, I will do that. for your benefit. Now, let me take you. I'm going to one aspect only, and that is the 2 noises. We know in our version, you have the shooting and you have the cricket bat.
Milady, I can only state that I heard the shooting and not the cricket bat. I heard 4 shots. My house is in Silver Stream, not Silver Woods. So I'm a distance away. I'm over 170 meters away. I don't know if that had an influence on me only hearing the shots. I didn't hear the cricket bat.
Yes.
I could have been somewhere else, wherever in my house. I only heard the shots.
But that's the point that I'm taking you to. After the shots, what did you do?
Milady, as I stated to the court before, after the shots, after the screams died down, I was still sitting in bed, and my husband came back from the balcony.
And then? I mean, you must have been upset.
Yes, that's when I stated to my husband that I hope that woman didn't just witness her husband or the man being killed in front of her. Because remember, I thought it was a housebreak. Because of the fear in her voice, I wasn't doubting that they were being attacked in their house.
I assume you were awake for quite some time.
Milady, I was awake from the shouts. I was awake till after the last gunshot. I cannot say when I fell asleep. I don't know. I fell asleep somewhere. I woke up again. I fell asleep. I can't state. I went to the bathroom. I came back.
Let's try and get some time to it.
Milady, I won't be able to give time because I wasn't looking at my watch, looking afterwards when I'm falling asleep, when I'm waking up. I didn't take time.
It's not what I want to ask you. After hearing what you call the shots, you spoke to your husband.
After the shots and after the screaming died down, my husband did come back, and I spoke to my husband, and I then said to him, I hope that woman didn't just witness her husband being killed in front of her, because I said that because I only heard the male shouting help 3 times, and I never heard him again. I only heard the female.
And what did you do then? You spoke now to your husband.
Well, I lay down again in
Did you go
bed.
to the toilet then? When did
Well-
you go to the bathroom?
Sometime during the night. I can't say when I went to the loo, but I went to the loo sometime.
No.
I laid down again in my bed. I woke up, I slept, woke up.
The point I'm trying to
I didn't take note of that because remember, I never thought I was going to testify in court. I was thinking that's a housebreak. Also, the next day, I phoned my friend, and my colleagues knew, before we knew of Mr. Pistorius, that we thought that was a housebreak.
When you're upset, and that must have really upset you, you won't fall asleep within 10, 15 minutes. It must take at least more than that. Or would you just turn around and sleep?
Milady, my sister's baby died on Friday night. I slept. I do sleep after traumatic events.
But do you say to me, I'm trying to find out, do you say to me very shortly after the shots you fell asleep, or was it some time delay?
I did not look at my watch to say when I fell asleep.
I understand that. I'm not asking time. Would you say there was some time delay, or did you fall asleep very shortly after the shots?
Milady, when you're lying in bed at night, sometimes 5 minutes feels like an hour if you're trying to sleep. I cannot say when I fell asleep. It was probably sometime afterwards. I can't say when I fell asleep.
And what you did, and I'm not talking about a long time, I'm talking 3, 4 minutes, 2, 3, 4 minutes, in this case. After the shots, you would still be awake?
I was awake for a short while after the shots. I don't know how long,
That
but I was awake sometime. I don't know how long. I can't confirm how long.
that is when the cricket bat was used to break down the door.
Lady, I'm not going to change any testimony. I can only say what I heard.
I'm not
I
asking
only
you.
heard the shots. I never heard any cricket bats. I can't
I'm
testify.
not asking you to change your testimony. All I say, it was not long after the shot that the cricket bat was used
Lady, I
to
never.
hit the door hard,
Lady,
really hard, that you can hear it.
Lady, I only heard the shots and the terrible screaming. I never heard the bashes or anything of that. I don't know whether it was the distance. I can't say. Maybe I went to the loo at that stage. Maybe it was a distance. Maybe I fell asleep. But I can only testify about what I heard, and what I heard was the shouts, terrible screaming, and the gunshots.
You know what? Pistorius is really anxious, and he screams when he pitches his voice. We'll call a witness in that respect. If I put it to you, it sounds like a woman, what would you say? That it's not true?
Milady, I don't think I've ever heard Mr. Pistorius screaming. So,
Because what I'm saying to you, let's look at it for once, just 2 minutes, objectively. And this is what I put to you. He fired shots. He was beyond himself. He was screaming after that, higher and lower. And I'm going to deal with the statements here in different screaming, higher and lower. And that is why you would hear what you, that time of the morning, associate with a very anxious woman screaming and also a man screaming. You heard both. All I said was the same person.
Milady, I'm 100% certain I heard two different people that evening. I heard a male voice and I heard a female voice.
Well, one thing we do know from your testimony, you did not hear them at the same time. You did not hear a female screaming and simultaneously a man shouting for help.
Milady, that's true. I heard the lady call for help, and shortly afterwards I heard the male shout help 3 times. Help, help, help.
Yeah, and that's the point that I'm making to you. It was not simultaneous, because if it's the same time, then of course you can turn around and say it cannot be because they were screaming or shouting the same time. When you heard the female voice and the male voice, it was at different times, not simultaneous.
Milady, it was shortly of the one after the other, the male after the female, and I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that it was two different people. It did not sound remotely the same.
Yes. In your mind, I must accept. In your mind, it was not the same. In your mind, it was two different people. But let's look at it now. Let's try and make sense out of this. If I tell you you were 177 meters away, what would you say about that?
Milady, that's true. That's our distance. That's true.
If I tell you that his voice, when he's really anxious, when it pitches, it sounds like a woman, can you say it's not so? Or do you simply say, I don't know?
Milady, I'm sure what I heard was a woman, so I'm quite convinced it wasn't Mr. Pistorius.
I know you believe you heard him.
Yeah.
All I say is, when he's anxious, his voice, when it pitches, it sounds like a woman screaming. And what I put to you, that's what would explain why you hear like a woman screaming and you also hear a man screaming, not only a woman.
Milady, why I'm definitely certain it was two different people is because I can compare the helps of the first person and the second person. And the first person was definitely a female, and the shouting was with that voice. I could hear it was her voice shouting and screaming fearfully.
Well, let's look at it. Let's look how well you could hear from that distance, because I put it to you. The hitting of the ball, the door with the cricket bat, was shortly after the shots. Not a long time, and you would have been awake still at that time. You for sure you would have been awake. You did not even hear someone hitting the door so hard with a cricket bat that it breaks. You did not even hear that.
Milady, I'm sure gunshots will be louder than a cricket bat on a door.
Well, you sure, but do you know? Do you know what a gunshot would sound like compared to someone hitting a door hard with a cricket bat? Do you know what a difference in sound would be? What a difference in decibels would be? Do you know that?
Milady, I did not check that fact, the difference of decibels, but I know a gunshot really travels far. One can hear it very far.
What is your experience of gunshots?
Milady, I don't own a gun. I don't own a gun, but I've heard gunshots in the night, and I've shot before. I've shot once. I went to a driving range, so
When was that?
it was a few years ago.
So you were there right at the driving range, shooting right at the sound.
I've been there before,
Yeah.
yes, once.
And apart from that occasion where you were at the driving range, what other shots did you hear? And how far were you away from the shots? And what was the caliber of the fire?
Milady, it has happened in my life that in a neighborhood where I am, I hear a gunshot. I cannot say where it's from, but it's from a distance.
But-
I know what a gunshot sounds like.
That's what you interpret to be a gunshot. You know, it's at night. Sounds strange at night, especially 3 o'clock in the morning or thereabout. You hear sounds, and in your mind, and I'm not saying you're lying, in your mind, you hear gunshots. And that's why I'm testing. Why would you be an expert to say those were definitely not gunshots and not another sound resembling a gunshot? That would be a hard boom, boom.
Time to stretch. If you've been working, I've moved through really fast. Okay, so I saw a few questions that I want to answer. This is the defense attorney. Prosecutor is a smaller man. His name is Garinal. I can't remember this guy's name. What else? What else? I think it's a respect thing. So you guys may have seen me raging. Oh, tight neck in Recovery Addicts comments. We're a very polite, respectful country. And so she's addressing the authority of the court, I think. So again, I mentioned this yesterday, but it's worth mentioning again. This lady, according to what we saw completely outside of the trial, experts do. It disproved her. I know, and this is what I was going to get to about the objections. So basically, you need to remember that this is all in front of a judge, not a jury. So the judge is determining the weight. If there are things that are presented in court that need to be disregarded, the judge will do that. There doesn't have to be tell the jury to disregard, tell the jury to disregard, tell the jury. So there's no aspect of for the record of like, would a different jury find a different result, right? This is a legal professional who knows what can come in and what can't come in. I think that Harry the prosecutor is picking his battles because I think he knows this is a very, very, very weak witness. I don't remember if defense brought an expert on the sound thing, but I think they know. And they have all the time in the world that they could need. There were some objections to do with yesterday, grill. She grill. You don't grille. You don't. You can't plural. It's not in Afrikaans. It's not scream, screamed, screams. No, scream, screams. So he objected then. But hey, Sheena, I think you're new, or maybe you've popped in once or twice. I can't remember. Yes, it would be exactly the same as a bench trial. So I've actually got some Judge Wolf set as a bench trial, but you. If I manage to find, there's another case that I want to cover, South African case, Jason Ruder. I loved that judge and how involved she got in the testimony. It was so cool. Like she'd be like, sorry, I have to pause and ask you this. And then they'd talk about it and she'd cross-examine. Loved it. This judge is very, 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 very chilled. I nearly gave a spoiler away. Okay, here we go. Half past is the next one.
Boom. Boom. Not that.
Milady, I've heard gunshots before.
How many
100%. Various times in my life.
In that neighborhood?
No, we live in an extremely safe neighborhood.
When last have you heard gunshots? Before that
the 14th
evening.
February 2013.
Before that evening, as you say. Before that?
Milady, I can't testify about the date that I heard the last time gunshots. The fact is, I'm sure, especially South Africans, most people in the court would be able to say whether they hear a gunshot when it's a gunshot. It's very clear.
Well, I'm not sure if that's true because Mr. Nell will present the evidence of other witnesses saying they hear the noise, but they're not sure if they're gunshots. It may or may not be.
Milady,
They're not that sure.
Milady, for me, it's very sure. Also, I'd like to state to the court that my bedroom windows were open because it was a very hot evening towards the bathroom of Mr. Pistorius' house. So what I heard very clearly would be sounds traveling from the bathroom. I would not always be able to hear if people are moving around in the house. The other witnesses' houses are on different places in the estate. So even the sounds might change. The shouts, the screams we hear, it's different. And even the time when we wake up, maybe it's different.
Have you ever heard a cricket bat hitting a door?
Milady, I've never heard a cricket bat hitting a door. I've heard someone kicking a door, but never a cricket bat.
Have you any idea what it would sound like 3 o'clock in the morning from the inside of a house when you hit a door very hard with a cricket bat?
Milady, I live 177 meters away, over 170 meters away.
It
Whether
sounds
I can
like
hear that or not, I don't know. Shots, definitely. I've got no doubt. I heard shots, gunshots fall. I did not hear a cricket bat hitting a door. Maybe I was in the bathroom at that stage. I cannot say why I did not hear it. I can only testify that I did not hear it. Why, I don't know.
I'm trying to understand on your version why we would have that scenario other than the one that I put to you, that it was the same person screaming. Why would I have that evening or that early morning, would I have a woman screaming out and a man screaming out?
Milady, that question, I think the only person that can maybe answer that will be Mr. Pistorius himself.
But it is really strange. I mean, one version is the one was attacking the one, and then the other one was attacking the other one, or someone else was attacking. I don't know, because it does not make sense that both of them would scream help. You agree with that?
Milady, I cannot interpret certain things. I wasn't there. I can only say what I heard. I can only present to the court one piece of the jigsaw puzzle, what I heard. The other evidence that will be given will form the rest of the puzzle. I can only say what I heard. I cannot interpret someone else's
Well,
meaning.
what you're really saying, because let's look where you come from. You come from an attitude, to put it that way, that you, when you heard Mr. Pistorius's version at the bail application, it was not true. You immediately decided it cannot be. Not so?
Milady, as I stated earlier, there's a missing link, and that's the female that shouted.
But what did you hear about the bail application?
I was riding in the car on my way to Mpumalanga, and I heard the hearing proceedings on the radio. And that's when I discovered that they spoke about a witness 600 meters away. And also I heard that it was stated emphatically that there was only one person that shouted that evening. But I very clearly heard two people, a male and a female, shouting.
So you decided, if he says that Reeva was not screaming, that he's lying. It cannot be, he's lying.
Well, Milady,
Not so.
Milady, if he says there was no one else screaming, then I can't understand it. It has to be explained, because I definitely clearly heard that.
It's not only you cannot understand it. In your view, it cannot be.
Well, I cannot see how it could be unless he was somewhere else and he did not hear it, but it does not make sense to what I heard.
But in your view, if it cannot be, it cannot be telling the truth. It cannot be what he said, in your view.
Milady, I'm not going to judge him. He'll have time to come and explain it if he comes to explain it. He can explain it.
Now,
I don't know how, I cannot see how it's possible not to hear, because I heard her 170 meters away,
you heard?
a woman scream.
Yes. What you believe was a woman screaming. Now, you've never heard the sound of a cricket bat hitting a door.
Milady, I've never heard a cricket bat hitting a door.
Yeah. But notwithstanding, you're confident to say those were gunshots, not cricket bat noises.
Milady, I'm 100% convinced I heard gunshots that evening.
Yes, and your only experience with gunshots was once at a driving range, and other times when you hear gunshots and you interpret them to be gunshots. You don't see the person firing.
Milady,
To you, that's gunshots.
I was at a driving range once where I shot on my own. I did, when I was much younger, go with someone else that also shot once. So that was the second occasion when I was younger. And then I've heard shots in the neighborhood before. But, milady, really, I do know what a gunshot sounds like.
Yeah.
It's very clear.
Now, let's test your hearing. That night, the only thing you heard, according to you, that was a man's voice, was once a man shouting, help, 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 3 times.
That's correct, milady, just after the female shouted.
You see, I'm looking at neighbors staying close by, in the close proximity of the accused house. There's a Mr. Bareng Mochwani. He heard someone crying, sounded like a man crying. Did you hear that?
My lady, I did not hear a man crying. It could have possibly been after the shot. Before, I do not know. I did not hear a man crying. If it was somewhere else in the bathroom, I did not hear that. I don't know.
Yes.
I only heard the shouts, the screaming.
Yes, there's Rika Mochwani, also very close by, close proximity. She heard a man's voice crying like a cry of pain. Did you hear that?
My lady, if someone was crying, I would not hear it 170 meters away. I would hear gunshots because it's loud. I would hear screaming because it's loud, but I won't hear cries or talking. I'm too far away.
There's a man right next to number 287, Bushwell. Okay, if he's telling the truth. Mr. Michael Nklenkwa saying he heard the man crying very loud. The crying was really loud and continuous, also crying, no, please. Did you hear that?
My lady, as I understand, that person's testimony was he was quite close to in the estate. I did not hear that. I was 170 meters away. I did not hear crying.
There's Hillary in Nklenkwa. She heard the man crying very loudly. You did not hear that?
My lady, I did not hear any crying.
Now, you see what my difficulty is. Then the other witnesses that the state did not take statements from, so leave them out. They're not part of the state's case. But what we had various witnesses far closer to the house and some not as close, hearing a man crying loud. That's the one that you did not hear.
The lady, I confirm, I did
Yes.
not hear crying, and I did not hear the cricket bat.
You're talking about loud crying, not just crying, loud crying. You did not hear.
My lady, as I stated before, I'm 170 meters away. It has to be very, very loud for me to hear it.
You did not hear because you should have been awake, would have been awake. You did not hear a cricket bat hitting the door so hard that it breaks the door.
Lady, as I stated before, I can only testify on what I've heard.
My lady, may I just object? It was now put to the witness, you did not hear it as if it did happen and she could have heard it. It wasn't said. She answered this question, my lady. It's umpteenth time. She did not hear the cricket bat against the door. We should move on, lady. She's answered this question. I haven't kept count, but I can remember at least 5 times. And one should really move on.
Mr. Roo,
Part concerns me, my lady. The objection starts off by saying, as if it happened, that I put to him, there was hitting with the cricket bat as if it happened. And I'm not sure if that's the state's version, because we put it that it was indeed so. It's part of the state's analysis.
If the court allows me, I'll explain what I meant.
you'll rephrase.
I'll do.
Yes.
Lady, as if it happened so loudly that she should have heard it. That's what I meant. If I didn't express myself correctly, I apologize.
Okay.
That's what we put to the witness, my lady. We can disagree. We put it to the witness, and that is why we put to the witness that, and I ask and I say, could there have been gunshots before you woke up? And their answer is no. Maybe she can hear well when she's sleeping too.
Well, she's explains it in terms of distance.
Yes, my lady.
She says, I did not hear it.
Yes.
I was 177 meters away.
And we say, what we say, my lady, and that's what I'm going to put to her. What she really heard, she heard the cricket bat, my lady. The gunshots had taken place.
Yes, you can put it
Yes,
to the
thank you,
witness.
my lady. You see, and that's why I was trying to understand now how it was possible that if you could hear so well, the gunshots, that your husband heard more shots than you. Where was he at the time of the shooting?
My husband was on the balcony when the shots took place.
So he was
Lady.
outside on the balcony when you heard the shots.
Yes, that's correct.
Would you say he was in a better position to hear than you? Outside on the balcony than you inside the house or not? I don't know.
Lady, I can't explain how good or how bad my husband hears, but the gunshots were loud. I heard them very clearly, so I suppose he could also hear them clearly.
I'm trying to understand, because initially you said he also heard 4 shots, but I think you corrected yourself. Is that right?
Yes, my husband said he heard a lot of shots. It could have been 4 or 5 or 6. It was a lot. For me, it's very clear. I started with music very young. I hear rhythm automatically. There was no doubt for me. I heard 4 shots.
4. Now, when you spoke to your husband the next day, later that day, not the next day, he asked you if you could remember. What was that all about? Could you tell the court?
Milady, we thought it was a housebreak. So my husband phoned me to ask me, how did I remember what happened? Can I remember? So I said, yes, clearly I can remember. And then he asked me to repeat why, how the events went. And so I repeated that to him because we were both shocked to hear that Mr. Pistorius, that it was stated that he thought there was someone that broke in. Because that did not rhyme with what both me and my husband heard. We were shocked. We thought it was a housebreak. But I'm sure my husband will be able to explain his actions when he testifies.
Yeah.
I can't say what he was thinking.
But did he asked you if you could remember?
Yes.
And then you gave him the whole version that you remember.
Yes. And then he said to me, you won't believe, but I just heard at the office, it's in the news that Mr. Oscar Pistorius shot and killed his girlfriend, and it was stated that he thought there was someone that wanted to burgle them, that wanted to break in.
In your mind then,
Yeah.
what's then ingrained in your mind is that, what happened? Mr. Pistorius shot his girlfriend.
Milady,
That's what I heard. He shot his girlfriend.
Can you just repeat your question?
Then when he told you that, in your mind, you put 1 and 1 together and you say, Mr. Pistorius shot his girlfriend. Is that your understanding?
Milady, when I heard that, it was shock first because I couldn't understand how that version of what was said in the media, he thought there was someone trying to break in. Did not make sense with what I heard, because the fear in that woman's voice, you only feel like that if your life is threatened. That woman, I never doubted her life was threatened. So it didn't make sense to me. I was shocked to hear that.
You initially thought it was a housebreak.
Yes.
And you thought that after hearing both of them screaming.
Him calling for help, her calling for help, and her terrifying screams.
Yeah.
And the gunshots.
But when you heard him screaming, you also thought it was a housebreak.
When I heard him call for help,
screaming.
I heard him call for help.
Yes, you still thought it was a housebreak.
Yes, I definitely thought it was a
It
housebreak.
didn't sound to you that someone is not really anxious and as if he's just screaming to make a noise and to pretend to cry for help. It was something that you associated with 2 people in trouble.
I heard 2 people, so I definitely thought I knew there's a man and a woman living there.
You associated both screams, according to you now, one coming from the woman, one coming from the man, as being that both of them are anxious, both of them are in trouble. That was your association.
Well, I thought the man must be trying to call for help.
Yes.
The fear that really startled me was the fear in her voice. She was petrified.
Yes. Now,
That's what stopped me.
how did it work that you spoke about the red arrow pointing out Mr. Pistorius' house? How did that come about?
Well, firstly, I also saw on Sky News and CNN, I saw aerial shots on the television of the house. So I knew where the house was. And also from a balcony, it's very clear where the house is. And my husband actually saw it on the television and he said to me, he can't believe it, but I must come and look. Here's our house. There's Mr. Pistorius' house. We never realized we're so close. We didn't know where he lives in Silverwoods. It was unclear to us.
But at the time that evening or early that morning, you did not know that the sound was coming from that house.
I didn't know exactly what house because I wasn't in the house, but I could definitely hear it was from Silverwoods. Due to the layout of the estate, I could say it was Silverwoods.
Could you see if the lights were on of the house, the lights were off?
I was sitting in my bed. I didn't go to the window to look at the lights, and also the house is a distance away. I don't know if I could see a light if I did try to look, but I never looked for any lights.
You had poplar trees in front of your house, between Mr. Pistorius' house and your house.
There's a few thin little trees there. There was a lot of open felt at the time between our house and his house. In recent times, they started building there and constructing houses. But at the time, there was only one house built, and it was a flat-roofed house, one level. So I could actually see Mr. Pistorius' house from my balcony if I wanted to look.
And how did the pointing out come about? Could you tell the court about it?
Well, with our consultation, there was a photo that was shown to me to ask, where's my house? And I could see the house, and also which is Mr. Pistorius' house, and I could show that. Also, when we were standing on the balcony, the one photographer, Mr. Benny, I don't know what his surname is, he was there. The photographer for the police. He was also there, and he was taking pictures from our balcony because he could. And so we were standing with him on the balcony, and then we saw the house with him there, and he was taking pictures. So also confirmation from him that that was the house.
When was that?
That was a couple of weeks after the event.
How long after your statement?
I did not take down the date, but I'm sure.
More or less.
No, I cannot confirm the date. Captain van Aert was also there that day. He'll be able to give the exact date. I can't say what the date was. Captain van Aert will be able to say the exact date.
When did you make your statement to Captain van Aert? Can you remember that?
Also a few weeks after the event took place. Once again, Captain van Aert will be able to give the date.
You know Mr. Peter Hall?
He's the developer of Silverstream. I do know him personally.
Did you tell him about this event, the screaming and so on?
I did speak to him afterwards about what we heard because my husband phoned him that morning, milady. My husband phoned him to try and find out what happened in Silverwoods because we thought it was housebreak. And so he phoned Mr. Peter Hall, and I think also someone that does construction there that we know well, Mr. Willem Vos.
Now, if you think back, how many times did you hear the woman scream that night?
Milady, I didn't count the screams. I didn't go
More or
1,
less.
2, 3. Yeah, I didn't count the screams. There was the screaming when I woke up. There was the screaming when my husband was on the balcony. We made the call. Then there was the screaming moments before the shots. The shots followed, and I heard a voice again. I did not count the screams.
So it seems, but if you say you didn't count, it seems there was about 3 occasions that you heard the screaming.
I heard the screaming when I woke up.
Yes.
I heard the screaming when my husband was on the balcony. I heard the screaming after the telephone call. I heard screaming with the shots and slightly afterwards, moments afterwards. I did not count them.
Now, if you like, my lady would just bear with me. I'm just finding the place. When you go to the Really, I'm sorry, I've just turned my page. I apologize for that. I want to come back to this one aspect. Maybe I didn't follow your answer about Mr. Hall. What did you say? Why did Mr. Hall come to your house?
Milady, I never said Mr. Hall came to
Yeah.
my house.
Did he not come to your house? Did he not come for a quote?
Milady, I don't know where this question's coming from.
Did Mr. Hall not come to your house to give you a quote on security?
Mr. Peter Hall,
Yes.
he never came to me. I never asked him to come to me to give me a quote.
If you don't know it, if it or he didn't come to your house, or you don't know, then you can just say so. So you don't know that Mr. Hall came to your house.
What quote for what?
For security.
For security.
To improve the security. Can you remember that?
I never asked Mr. Hall to give me a quote for
Do you know if your husband asked him?
what security are we speaking about? I don't know anything about it.
Well, if you don't know about it, then you don't know about it.
Yes, my lady, I didn't ask Mr. Hall to give me quotes for security and things like that. Mr. Hall's a developer.
I don't want to be unfair to the interpreter. That's why I want to come back to a point that's really important to me. And that's the dear mekaar, the confused, that you were confused. Or that it was a confusing night. Can you just explain that?
My lady, as I stated, that wasn't a night, an evening as every other evening. When you go and sleep, you don't think you're going to wake up just after 3, hearing these petrifying screams and hearing gunshots. It's a abnormal evening. It's not something that would be. So what I tried to convey to the court is it's a dear mekaar. It wasn't an evening like any other evening. There were gunshots, there was screaming. I was awake, then I slept again. That's what I meant.
It also seems that after the event, you have difficulty in remember all the steps taken. It was as if you can't remember exactly what happened or what did not happen after the shots.
Milady, my testimony is about what I heard up until just after the shots. That's what I heard. I heard her terrifying screaming. I heard him calling on for help.
Is your memory vivid after the shots?
Well, there's nothing that I can mention that I heard that's relevant to this case that I know of. So just after the shots, her shouting died down, and that was the last I heard. So I can't say what happened 2 minutes afterwards. I can't say what happened an hour afterwards. I don't know.
Maybe would it be an opportune time? I need to go to some of the statements.
What's your time? What's the time? I just need to put
It's
that.
about 10 to 4 minutes.
10 to 4. Yes. Tomorrow we're starting at. Side. No one is objected. Starting at 9:30. You may be seated, Mr. Pistorius. You're still under oath, ma'am. You may be seated. Yes, Mr. Roy.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
You I'm going to deal with two aspects today only, so that you know where I'm going. The first one would be credibility, and the second one will be reliability. Now, I asked you yesterday a couple of times and still do not have your answer. But we have a copy of the record if necessary. I'll make it available and, of course, to the court. And that is that before you made your statement, you did not believe Oscar Pistorius' version that that he thought that Reeva was an intruder. When he shot Reeva, that he thought it was an intruder. What do you say about that?
Milady, as I said yesterday, I cannot understand when I heard the version how there wasn't mention made of a female that shouted. I clearly heard a female shout. So, as I stated yesterday, the person that can answer that will be Mr. Pistorius.
So what you say is that when you heard at the bail application that it was put there that Reeva did not shout, you immediately realized, but this cannot be because I distinctly heard the woman shouting. And by inference, it must have been Reeva. Is my understanding correct?
Milady, I wondered where is the lady that was shouting. I heard that and I felt I had to say what I heard. Also, my colleague said to me I need to state what I heard.
Is my summary correct that I put to you?
Please, can you repeat your summary, sir?
Please, if you don't mind, madam, just listen carefully to the question. The question was not that difficult. And that follows from your first answer. And that is, because you heard at the bail application that it was put on behalf of Mr. Pistorius, that the woman was not screaming, which we know could only have been Reeva, this woman. You realized this could not be because you distinctly heard the woman screaming, which could only have been Reeva. Is that a fair summary?
Lady, I realized that that is not what I heard. I can only offer my version. So if someone heard something else, that's so. This is my version, what I heard. It does not correlate with my version.
Shall I repeat it again? Please listen carefully. What caused you to realize that it could not be, his version could not be correct, was the fact that you heard that at the bail application, and I'm following on your first question, answer. At the bail application, you heard that it was put or it was stated on behalf of Mr. Pistorius that Reeva did not scream, and you knew that could not be. You heard that.
The lady at the bail application, what was said, that version does not coincide with what I heard. And I wanted to state my version to the court.
But your reaction came from what was put at the bail application that Reeva did not scream. That's where it comes from, that reaction, that it could not be.
Milady, I can say that I heard a woman scream. It was not stated in the bail application. It's part of my version. The police then knocked on my door and asked me my version before I even gave through my testimony. And that's what I stated. That's
Can
what
I
I
go
heard.
back to it again? You heard something that you called at the pre-trial or the bail application, that a statement was made. I'm just following on your first answer, man. That a statement was made on behalf of Mr. Pistorius that Reeva did not scream. Is that correct? Did you hear that?
Milady, I heard in the bail application that it was stated that only one person screamed.
Yes. And that caused you to realize, but that cannot be, because you heard the woman screaming.
Milady, so I heard a woman screaming. I don't know. Maybe Mr. Pistorius can explain that what happened, why my version does not coincide with that version.
That caused you to think that it could not be, that statement could not be correct on behalf of Mr. Pistorius because you heard a woman screaming. Not so.
Milady, as I stated before, my version did not coincide with that version, so that's not my version. I heard what was said in the bail application, but my version, what I heard, is not that. So,
Yeah. I'm going
and also the distance, as I said yesterday.
to the 8th time the same question. Is it difficult?
So, lady, I agree it's 8th time, but my argument has been answered 8 times, and we should now move on. How else would we answer a question if it's put? Is that what caused you to give a version? Is it because you didn't believe the version? My version did not coincide. That's a word. Malady, then it's argument.
I don't think it's been answered.
That's a good word.
Yes.
Thank you, Malady. Ma'am, I'm going to put it again. Maybe it's not clear. And I'm going to be really slow this time. You heard, and stop me when it's wrong, because I don't want to go through this pain again. You heard at the bail application, doesn't matter in what specific form, that it was put on behalf of Mr. Pistorius, or it was his version or whatever, that Reeva did not scream that evening. Is that correct?
Milady, because my version is different to what I heard them say, what I heard is different. I can't
Just
agree.
1 minute.
I can't
Let me
agree
just
with what they
explain.
said. I can't agree with his version.
Hold on. When counsel asks a question, you answer that question. Unless he asks for an explanation, you don't give an explanation. If the answer is yes, you say yes. If it's no, you say no. If you don't know, you say I don't know. If you don't remember, you say I don't remember. Otherwise, you will be in that witness box for another day and maybe tomorrow or the day thereafter. The quicker way to get out of that box is to answer exactly what counsel is asking.
Thank you, Milady.
Yes. Mr. Nell is here to see to it that if there's any confusion, he clears it up during re-examination. Okay. Yes.
I'm indebted to court. Thank you, Malady.
Um,
Do you have the question? What is the answer? Is it yes, that's true, or no, it's not true?
no, I don't agree to that.
What don't you agree to?
To that there was only a man that shouted and that there
No.
were only
Question is different. You heard at the bail application. I'm not asking if you agree now with it. You heard that it was it was Mr. Pistorius' case, put on his behalf, whatever, that Reeva did not scream that evening. Is that right? Did you hear that?
No, those words were not what I heard, Milady. I heard it was stated, we emphatically state that there was only one person that screamed that night, and that was Mr. Pistorius. That's what I heard.
That's right. So that means one thing. In your mind, it must have meant one thing, that it can only mean one thing, that Reeva did not scream. If it was only in, it means that Reeva did not scream.
That's correct, Milady.
Thank you. And that caused you to realize, no more than this, I'm not talking about you being judgmental, just it cannot be because I've heard a woman screaming. Is that right?
That's correct, Milady. That's what I heard.
And that's in that context that you realized it could not be. It's in that context what you heard from the bail application.
Well, I knew exactly what I heard when I woke up. And yes, then it did not coincide.
Yes, but it was in that context what you heard at the bail application that you realized it could not be. Well, we've gone through it. I don't know why you...
Yes,
must be yes.
There's other facts, but yes.
Yes, what other facts?
That made me think about why I wanted to testify, to give my testimony.
Say again? I'm sorry, I beg your pardon.
I spoke yesterday about the 600 meters that I heard in the bail application, the distance also, and then we realized we're closer than 600 meters.
Yeah, but that had nothing to do with believing or not believing. That's just distance that you thought you can help. You agree?
Yes.
You see, why I'm asking you this, because yesterday in your examination in chief, when you said it could not be, I told my husband it cannot be, because that is not what I heard. You remember that?
Yes.
It had nothing to do with the bail application.
No. It went, that conversation we had yesterday was about the intruder, and I said it does not coincide with what I heard, because it was stated on the, my husband said it was on the media, he thought there was an intruder, and that's why he shot. And I stated to my lady yesterday that with those fearful, petrifying screams, it couldn't be you think there's an intruder, your life is endangered.
Why not? Why could it not have been right that he thought it was an intruder? Why did you decide then already? It's not true. It's not right. He could not have thought it was an intruder.
My lady, moments, as I stated yesterday, moments before the shots were fired, she had petrifying screams. I heard that female screaming fearfully, and she was very, very scared of something that was threatening her life moments before those shots went. And that made me know her life was threatened severely in the house. That's why she shouted. It could not coincide with thinking there's something outside.
But after the event and before that call to your husband, you thought it was a break-in. After hearing her screaming, him screaming, her screaming again, and the shots, you still thought that it was either a robbery or a housebreaking.
Yes, my lady, that's correct, because you only shout like that if your life is really threatened. She was fearing for her life, so I didn't doubt that.
Yes, you thought before falling asleep again, that evening, after hearing all of this, that was a housebreaking or a robbery. That's what you thought.
Yes, my lady, due to the fearful shouts and the shots.
So what was new that caused you not to believe it the next morning?
In the media, the next day, they said Mr. Pistorius said he thought there was an intruder, and then he shot his girlfriend Reeva and killed her because he thought it was an intruder.
But what?
But there wasn't an intruder in the house. No one spoke again about an intruder in the house.
No, but you didn't know at that time anything more than that one sentence. That your husband tells you that it was in the news that Mr. Pistorius thought there was an intruder in the house and that he shot his girlfriend. That's all you knew.
Yes.
So you didn't know that maybe what happened in that house, what did they think? Because both of them were yelling, both of them were screaming help. How did that match up with an intruder? What was there on those limited facts to say it could not be?
Lady, first with the first section of the question, I only heard terrible screams of the female. I heard both of them shouting for help. Please, can you repeat the rest of the question?
Well, please tell me, why did you answer in that way that I can understand it? How did you see that as an answer?
You spoke about both of them screamed,
Yes.
and I heard only a female screaming and female calling for help and a male calling for help.
Yes.
I did not hear a man screaming. I
Yes.
did not hear.
But that's my point. After this event, that early morning when you go back to bed, you only heard a woman screaming and a man and a woman screaming for help. That's what you heard, not so?
I heard
A woman screaming.
Lady, I'm really sorry to interrupt Mr. Ruth's cross-examination, but I've just been informed that they're showing this witness's face on the TV as we speak. And there's been a court order that should not be allowed. And it's now happening, my lady, and I really do think we should stop.
Who's responsible for this?
My lady, I've been shown on a cell phone by our media person there that they're showing that perhaps we should just take an adjournment to investigate what's going on.
Yes, please do. Because I see this in a very serious light.
Yes.
Court will adjourn.
Any long time on your right?
good point for me to jump in while they play that music, because that is my ex-employer's it's my ex-employer's music right there. I wanted to say that the biggest learning curve for me with writing US stories let me just try this. The biggest learning curve for me with writing US stories is that the ethics are totally different. We are so Tom, congrats. I was trying to hit Jen and it's not working. But I'm glad you got it. I'm so glad you got it. Our ethics are next level. I'm always shocked by what the media gets away with. Steve, you're here for free. Everybody in favor of Steve having a buy me a coffee account, say aye. Aye. Who got the gifts? Who got the gifts? Marsha, Skibo, Melissa, American Prairie Time, 7. Hey, a lot of you are new. Skibo. Are you South African and is it Skibo? Or are you American? Anyway, I'll talk about that another day because I need to go back into focus time. What I was coming here to say is 1/4 past. Yes, you are, but you are here. No, I'm meaning you're not being paid. You cannot be gifting without being paid. And you cannot be modding without some kind of appreciation. The mods are probably rolling their eyes because I get very touchy about the fact that they are voluntary. It bothers me. Okay, anyway, let's circle back. We're going to focus until 1/4 past. Deal? Deal. Joke.
Yes, Ms. Sina.
May it please the court, lady. Lady, we had an opportunity to discuss this issue with you in chambers. What I've indicated to you and showed you in chambers, my lady, is a photograph of a TV set with a clear photograph of this witness with a caption, "On the stand, Michelle Berger, Pistorius' neighbor." Lady, and that is a photograph of a TV set, and the audio is running on the TV set with a photograph of the witness.
Yes.
In my respect for submission, lady, it's a violation of a clear court order. There's one aspect I may add, and that is that the news channel ENCA, of which that is a caption, made contact with your clerk this morning and asked them this exact question: are they allowed to put a photograph, which they found somewhere else, on the TV whilst the witness gives evidence? Lady, as far as I know, it was said no. They still went ahead and did it. My lady, I seek 2 orders. Firstly, that it's made clear by the court that that's a violation, that no photographs and or videos of a witness should be shown whilst the witness gives evidence. And secondly, my lady, that an investigation would follow to establish what further steps should be taken as far as this violation is concerned. As a court, please.
Thank you very much. Is there anything from...
Thank you, my lady. What Mr. Nell, my learned friend, has indeed submitted appears to be correct. When he speaks to an investigation that is to follow, that is, of course, the natural course of matters if there has been a transgression of a court order, and we have no difficulty in that regard. I echo his sentiments. However, we believe as the defense that we've reached a very important stage in the cross-examination of this particular witness, and we want to seek to continue with that without any further delay. No doubt your ladyship will make an appropriate order as requested by Mr. Nell. I have nothing further to add. Thank you, my lady.
Thank you. Yes, I've heard both counsel. I must say this is very disturbing. I am warning the media, if you do not behave, you are not going to be treated with soft gloves by this court. For this reason, I want to give the order as sought by Mr. Nell. One, this order that I'm granting is to stop any photographs of any sorts. It doesn't matter where it was sourced from, regarding any witness, including this witness, who has asked this court not to have his or her photographs published. Secondly, an investigation is to follow to find out exactly what is happening, the extent, this may just be the tip of the iceberg, the extent of the non-compliance or the violation of the court order.
As a court pleases, my lady.
Yes. We shall proceed without any further delay.
Indeed. Thank
Yes, Mr. Wu.
I'll take you back, ma'am, where I ask you, just to refresh your memory if it's necessary. I said to you, you did not know what happened in that house. I asked you about the two of them screaming for help and the woman, according to you, also screaming in addition to that. And I asked you then what was there on those limited facts to say that it could not be?
Sorry, my lady, can you please repeat what? I couldn't hear your second word.
Sorry, I asked then what was there on those limited facts that could cause you to say it could not be?
My lady, as I stated before, what my husband said was in the media. They said Mr. Oscar Pistorius accidentally shot his girlfriend because he thought there was an intruder and he was shooting the intruder. And what I heard that female screaming terribly. Her life was threatened in the house. I could not imagine her life not being threatened in the house. So it could not be for me.
But you did not know if there was an intruder in the house or not.
My lady, I wasn't there, so I never saw anything. I could only hear her shouts and her terrible screaming.
Yes, but even that morning, you still did not know if there was an intruder in the house.
My lady,
That he mistook her for an intruder, for instance. You didn't have enough facts.
my lady, it's based on what I heard, and as I heard, I present to the court.
But however trouble in your saying there was not an intruder in the house. And I was surprised that you could say it at that stage because you did not know.
The media
So I need
stated.
you to answer, how can you say at that stage that there was not an intruder in the house on those limited facts?
My lady, as I stated what I stated before, the media stated Mr. Pistorius thought there was an intruder in the house, but the screams that I heard was the petrifying screams of someone that's life was threatened. Someone had to be in the house threatening her. It's not just the thought of thinking there might be an intruder.
Yes, I understand that, and that caused you to think it was a housebreaking or a robbery.
Yes, I thought so.
That even caused you to think when a husband was, or a man was screaming for help, it didn't tell you, well, that's not real, that's a bit fake. It caused you to think it was genuine, a man screaming for help. It's a housebreaking or a robbery.
Yes, my lady, everything I heard that evening contributed to my perception that it was a housebreak.
But then I still don't understand with respect. in an answer just before the adjournment, in trying to justify your answer, you also added there was not an intruder in the house. And you conceded later that you could not say that. So I'm trying to find out, why did you say there was not an intruder in the house with those limited information at the time?
Milady, but as I understand even now, the defense also says never spoke of an intruder in the house, that there was an intruder. There wasn't an intruder in the
My
house.
question is different. How could you say, you were standing there and saying it as part of your answer, and I quote, there was not an intruder in the house.
Milady, that's my perception, as I stated before. What I heard, those petrifying screams, there had to be someone threatening her life. That's why she was shouting like that. So in my mind, there was, the way I saw it that evening, there was someone standing there threatening that man and that woman because she was petrified. That's life-threatening screams that she gave. It was petrifying. In my mind, they were attacked in the house. And then I heard the gunshots. That was a logical deduction.
I understand that, but that's not the question. And I'm going to show to you now why I'm putting this question to you again. I tried to find out on what basis could you stand there today and to say with reference to that conversation, you say there was not an intruder in the house. Listen, there was not an intruder in the house. It's one of the reasons that you gave to explain your answer. There was not an intruder in the house. And subsequently you confirmed that you cannot say whether or not there was an intruder. Not that morning, not when you spoke to your husband. Is that true?
Lady, I wasn't in the house. I never saw an intruder. And for the court, also no one says there was an intruder in the house. But what I heard at that stage, on that evening, the 14th of February, I thought there was an intruder due to the terrifying events I heard.
The question is different. When we dealt with the conversation you had with your husband, one of the answers given to you as a fact was, to justify your answer was, there was not an intruder in the house.
Yes, I was surprised. I was very surprised.
You couldn't say it at that time. You could not say it at that time, that it was not an intruder. You didn't know. I'm not saying there was one. I say you did not know.
But that was my perception. I'm just giving to the court my perception that morning.
You know what it is, and why I'm getting back to this point. And I will refer to a number of instances in your evidence, and I will submit to the court. I want to give you the opportunity to respond to them. What you do, you have watched Sky News, you've watched other news channels, you've spoken to people that came out in your evidence, and you have a retrospective knowledge, and you take that knowledge and you come and give evidence today as if it's the knowledge of that fateful evening.
Milady, as I stated yesterday, I spoke to numerous people that morning before finding out of anything that it was Mr. Pistorius. I spoke to my colleagues at work. I even spoke today just to support me. I phoned her at the hospital to tell her about what I heard. So I did not change and alter what I heard. What I heard that day, what I said to the people that I spoke to, is what I'm telling the court today.
Now, I've made the point. I want to ask you something else. Would you bear with me? My understanding is that fateful early morning, late evening, whatever, you did not know who was living in the house of Oscar Pistorius.
That's correct, milady.
You did not even know it was his house.
That's correct, milady.
Yet, yesterday, you said the following. When I asked you about screaming in the house, you said, I heard two people. So I definitely thought theirs, and then you say, I knew there's a man and a woman living there. How did you know that?
Well, I knew there was a man and a woman in that house. The events went together. The shouting, the calling for help, the screaming, the gunshots. It was a unit, and it was coming from a house, and that's what I referred to.
Now, I asked you about your statement yesterday. Maybe the correct approach of mine should be, we have our own transcription. I think just in all fairness that we should make that available. If I refer to something specific that you can of course see it. It would be unfair not to do that. I just realized. And I'll give one to the state as well. It won't be a constant reference, but just that it's not blind when I'm referring to it.
There's no objection to that, Mr. Nell.
I don't have objection to that, lady. They only, it will help, but in the courts, the official stenographers would provide a court record that one can refer to.
Have they?
No, they haven't.
Yes.
Now we have an unofficial court record. I will receive it. We'll have an opportunity to check it against the official court record, my lady. But if I receive it, I'll receive it with that privilege. That proviso.
Thank you.
Of course, just to assist, my lady. I'm not saying that it's binding and anything. It's just to assist. Thank you. I asked you about your statement made to Captain van Aert. And I quote your words, and it's page 73. My statement, how I gave it there, is precisely how I heard it.
At what page are you, Mr.
Page 73, my lady. Man,
Yes, yes, I do agree.
if necessary, I will refer you to that record, maybe if you listen to the questions. Do you still stand by that?
That the events that I heard are,
Precisely, my statement,
Yes.
how I gave it there, is precisely how I heard it.
that's what I heard.
Yes. That's precisely. You were quite precise. You were accurate in telling, in setting what happened, setting it out in your statement.
As I heard it, I stated to
Yes.
Captain, that's correct.
Well, it's not what you stated to him, it's what's in your statement.
Yes,
That's correct.
yes,
So what we know is he took it down correctly.
yes. Captain van Aert is very professional. He
Yes.
took it down like that.
Yes, he took it down correctly. It's precisely that. What you told him is precisely that.
Yes.
That's your statement. Now, yesterday, you gave evidence that you heard the shouting, not the first when you woke up, the second time.
After the call. Sorry, are you referring to the shouts, the terrible screams after the telephone call? Just before the shots?
Yes, well, I don't know just before the shots. I don't know anymore, because what you told us yesterday is that I heard the shots. That's page 79, but just listen to the question, please. And during the shots, and there's many places, next thing I'll go to all the places, I heard the woman screaming. That cannot be for two reasons. But let's start again with this. That cannot be. Do you agree?
No, it is. I heard the woman shouting. The shot started and I did hear her voice. And as I stated yesterday, moments after the last shot was the last time I heard her voice.
I'm going to read it to you again. And it's at many places. Just accept that. I heard the shots, and during the shots, I heard the woman screaming.
Yes, that's correct.
I say to you, for two reasons it cannot be. The first one is, that's not your statement that's precisely correct to Captain van Aert. In your statement you said, I heard the shouts, the screaming, and then the shots.
Milady, I object. It is a rehashing of an objection we had yesterday. It's an exact rehashing of paragraph 6 of yesterday, when we excused this witness. Yesterday I objected, I object again. It is a matter of interpretation in Afrikaans. And I object. I did it yesterday, and I'm doing it again.
Yes, Mr. Roux.
No, that dealt with the screaming subsequent. That deals with the screaming subsequent. Now, coming to that, you have Exhibit N. Exhibit N, you don't need interpretation, my lady. It is quite clear, and we dealt with what Mr. Nyan is referring to, is whether there was a subsequent screaming. That was the objection. The record is clear. Can I read it?
Yes, you referred to Exhibit M.
Paragraph 6, Exhibit N.
Yes, of course.
First, ek hoor die vrou gil en toe 4 shots. I heard the woman screaming, and yes, there was a debate, is one scream, more scream, it's not important. I heard the woman screaming, and then 4 shots. And I will come back to her husband's statement as well, but that's clear. It's not during the shots. That's the only point I'm making. That's not open for interpretation.
So you're specifically referring to this sentence?
That's specifically referring to that. And did you hear that sentence?
Milady, may I reply?
Yes, yes, please.
Milady, with the utmost respect, that was my argument yesterday. One cannot read that one sentence in isolation. It's a full paragraph. One has to read the full paragraph. If you take one sentence in isolation, it doesn't make sense. But if you read the full paragraph, and that's what I did yesterday. Ek hoor die vrou gil en toe 4 skote. Then the shots are explained. Daar was 'n pose van ongeveer 2 sekondes vanaf die eerste skoot na die tweede skoot en toe die skote direk na mekaar gevolg. Die vrou het die laaste gil. Not you can't read in here that she shot it again. She screamed, shots. The last of the screams was after the shots. That's how I interpret it.
But that's not the question. The question is with regard to that first, the second the second sentence in the paragraph.
Yes, my lady, but that second sentence should be read in terms of the whole paragraph. Nou, ek het die vrou hoor gil en toe 4 skote. There's nothing saying ek het die vrou hoor gil, die gil stop, the shots stopped, and then shots. It says, ek het die vrou hoor gil en toe 4 skote. And then, my lady, the last sentence read, die vrou het die laaste gil gegee, ongeveer 2 sekondes na die skote opgehou. It's not a counting, my lady. I say it's a continuation. At least that's an interpretation. It's my interpretation. And it cannot be said by Mr. Roux that that is exactly what she meant. I had the exact same argument yesterday, that one cannot take one sentence out of a paragraph.
Yes, Mr. Roux.
To Sister Court, I'll make it easy with the follow-up question, if I may.
Yes, yes.
Then, Madam, if I may, my lady. We have now a statement that's precisely correct. You've got a doctorate. The easiest thing, if you wanted to portray anything else, do you agree with this? To say to Captain van Aert, during the shots, I still heard screaming. That was easy to say in Afrikaans. Terwyl die skote geskiet word, hoor ek haar nog skreeu. That was easy to say. Do you admit that?
That I spoke about the screaming. I then explained the shots. He asked me about the shots. I explained the shots. And he asked me, when was the last time you heard her? And I said, just afterwards. It was screaming, shots. I still heard her. And the last one was moments after the last shot. And that's how it was taken down. My statement is only a few pages. I'm speaking here for many hours. I can explain very minute details to the court.
My question was different, and it's this. With Captain van Aert, it was really easy to say to him, Captain van Aert, let me add when you say into die skote. Terwyl die skote geskiet is, during the shooting, I also heard the shots. Question is this, it was easy to tell him that. Just that. There was nothing that stopped you from telling him that. That's the question.
My lady, I could have said that to him, but it was implied with what I said to him anyway when we were doing the statement.
There's a second problem that I'm going to put to you that will come out in evidence later. And that is when you have 4 shots in a confined room. In some quick succession, even granting you a small lapse between the first and second, the sound of the shots would make it impossible for you at the distance of 177 meters to hear screaming at the same time.
My lady, is that put as a fact, or is that put as a witness that will come say that? Mr. Roux telling this witness as a fact that is impossible? Because,
Well, that is cross-examination.
my lady,
He
can
is
say
putting words into the mouth of the witness.
that me,
The witness, no, he's got a right to do that.
my lady, that is so. Understand,
Yes.
without understand cross-examination. But Mr. Roux cannot state, he can tell the court that he call a witness to say it's impossible to hear, or he can say, my client would say it's impossible to hear, or he could say, in my view, but he can't state it as a fact, because it's not a fact, my lady. It's not a fact that it's impossible to hear screams during 4 shots. It's not. So, but it's put that it is. That is my objection. Right? Counsel cannot put that it's impossible. In his view.
What if she denies it?
What
He
if-
can't say were you lying unless then the question will arise whether there's a witness to say that this witness is lying.
My lady, I understand what can happen further. My only objection, my lady, is to the fact that it's put as a fact to a witness, a lay witness, standing in the witness box. Counsel put to the witness, it is impossible. And it's not, my lady.
Well,
That is my problem.
I'm not persuaded, Mr. Mayor.
As a court pleases, my lady.
Yes.
Thank you, madam. You've heard what I put to you. Any comment?
My lady, I heard shots and I heard her screams. As I stated yesterday, I can't say with which of the shots I heard her screams, but the shots started, I heard the screams, and shortly after, was the last that I heard her. It wasn't a minute afterwards, it was just after.
Just help us to understand that sequence. Because you've said now, the shot started, I heard the screams, and then I cannot say something. You cannot say what?
I said, as I stated yesterday, there were 4 shots. I cannot say with shot 1 and shot 3, I heard her shots. I can say, yes, I heard her screaming once the shot started. I still heard her screaming.
Well, you say
That's what
two
I
things.
heard.
You say 2 things. 3 things, in fact. You say, I heard the shots, and then I heard the screams. Then you say, I heard the screaming when the shots started. And then you say, I heard the shots and still the screaming. Which one was it?
My lady, as I stated before, after I made the call and my husband went back to the balcony, I heard her petrifying screams. Then the shots started. While the shots were going, there were 4 shots. I heard her again, and the last time I heard the woman's voice was shortly after the last shot, which for me was the 4th shot. That's the last time.
Can I ask you this, ma'am, if I may? Trying to understand this. So it seems, and I don't know, please correct me. It was a screaming that started, is it at the same time of the shots, shortly thereafter, or
Ma'am,
very shortly before?
My lady, as I stated, when the shot started, and I heard her voice again.
So,
I can't say it was with the number 1 and number 3.
Yes.
I can say the shot started, and I did hear her voice.
can I accept it then in your answer, because you repeat it, that the sequence, and I'm not taking you on what's in your statement, don't be concerned about it. It's this: you heard the shots, and then you heard the screaming, and whether that screaming was now between shot 1, 2, or 3, or just shortly after 4, you cannot say. Is that a correct reflection?
Art, and then they did their bit. I was meeting to not state whether she was screaming or
Did
not.
you hear the screaming?
I was not focusing on it, so I could not hear
My
it.
question difficult.
No, I did not hear it because I was busy calling.
Yes, but that's the point that I'm making, what you're saying to the school. When you focused on the telephone, you did not hear the screaming.
Correct.
Is that unfair?
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Why is it necessary that I have to put the same question 4 times?
I just want to make certain there's clarity, sir.
Yes. Ma'am, but tell me about, and please share full facts with the court, about how it came about. Captain van Aert is now there for the purpose of taking statements from you and from your husband. Share with the court that process, please.
My lady, my Captain van Aert arrived, and then I had to leave the area. So he was speaking to my husband and doing the testimony, the statement. And then later on, I was called down. My husband left. He had a business event to go to, and it was only Captain van Aert and myself at home. And I then gave my statement to him. We first discussed it. I told him what I heard, and then he took down my statement.
I really apologize. You just dropped your voice and I could not hear the first part. So only for that reason.
Yeah.
Did you say that your husband gave his statement and he left?
He had to go.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, my husband was at home first. He got home before me. Him and Captain van Aert were busy. I was not allowed to be there because I was not allowed to hear what they were discussing. So I had to go to another area. And then when he was finished, he had a business meeting to attend to. So he left, and I went to Captain van Aert. And then it was my turn. I discussed the events with Captain van Aert, and he did the statement.
So that day, the two of you did not, your husband and you could not discuss your statement. What you're going to say in the statement?
No, my version is my version. If my husband, whatever he has to say, is he has to say. We didn't go and try and discuss and manipulate anything. No.
I understand. And you say that when you arrived at your house, Your husband was already busy giving his statement and you did not interfere.
No.
You excused yourself.
No, sorry, sir. As I said, when I arrived, my husband was already there and Captain van Aert, and then they did their bit. I wasn't present, if I can use other words now. I wasn't present. I had to be separate so that I could not interfere with them. And then later, my husband, when he was done, he went to a business responsibility, and it was my turn with Captain van Aert.
And when you sat with Captain van Aert, did you not use your husband's statement perhaps to
No,
refresh
sir.
your memory or to, as a sample, how to give your statement?
No, sir. I did not see his statement then.
You have not seen it. It was not there. You
I
didn't see
did not see his statement.
it. He also didn't use it. You didn't use it.
No, he didn't.
And you were quite willing to give him a full statement.
Yes, sir. I said exactly as I stated to the court, as I heard the events.
And you trusted him.
I did trust Captain
Yes.
van Aert.
And I mean, I'm not too sure if I asked you your cell phone number, whether you would give it to me. But if he asked you your cell phone number, would you give it to him?
Yes, I trust
Yes.
Captain
And
van
did
Aert.
you know your cell number at that time?
My cell number?
Yes, cell phone number.
Yes, I know my cell phone number.
And if he asked you for your cell phone number, would you give it to him? At the time of the statement, for instance.
I would give my number to him.
There could be no reason for not doing that.
Yeah.
Now, let me just excuse me. Yeah. So you now can you remember where it was that you sat with Captain?
We sat at the dining room table because that's the only place we could sit.
And you said already your husband's statement was not there.
Well, I said I didn't see it. I didn't read it. I didn't see it. I don't know. Captain van Aert took the statement. I don't know where he had it. He had it somewhere. Obviously, because he didn't leave the room. He had it.
Did you see it on the table? That you can read it?
I didn't read the statement.
Did you see it?
Well, I didn't look for the statement. So if it was there, it might have been lying there with papers, but I did not look for the statement.
Was he referring you to his statement?
No, he didn't.
To help you, to say, let me help you?
No, he wasn't. He wasn't referring to that. He asked me for my version. What did I hear?
And you gave them your independent version.
Yes, as I heard.
Independent from your husband.
Correct.
Maybe there would be a bit of administration following, and I would rather, can we take the short adjournment now?
How long? How short?
I see it's nearly tea time, my lady.
Oh.
It's then just to, I want to make certain documents available.
Court will adjourn.
That was painful. Time to stretch. What?
That was the North
No,
Gauteng
we're not
High
doing
Court
that. No. Sorry. That was very painful. That was very, 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 very painful. It is time to stretch. Recovery Addicts is live in 7 minutes. I am redirecting you so you can just stay where you are. And I will keep an eye for when he starts, because he might be live. I mean, he might be late. He might be early. Let's just put him up on this one. Make sure the sound is on. Because yesterday was early, but I'll send you over there. Don't worry. If he hasn't moved on, I'm going to skip again.
If you look at your husband's statement, it starts with, in paragraph 1, ek is 'n volwasse man, I'm an adult male, ID number, residing there and there, cell number so. Let's stop there. Let's go to yours. It's like a template, just I'm adult female, ID number so-and-so, residing so-and-so, and telephone number. Which telephone number appears on your statement that was deleted?
My cell phone number, and there's one that was taken out, which was my husband's
Yes.
cell phone.
If you go to your husband's statement, you see the cell phone number 083 258 9288.
Lady, I can absolutely explain this.
Yes.
I'm not in the force. I'm not a professional at taking down testimonies. So this is the way the police starts it. The ID number, whatever, where you live. So Captain van Aert wrote down he asked me, are you a woman? What's your ID number? You live here, and the cell phone. He wrote that down. Because that's the way the police does it.
He wrote your husband's cell phone number.
Yes, he had both our numbers. He had available.
The only way he could write to you, one of the more understandable ways, he could write it down because he had that statement right there. That's what I'm going to show to the court, paragraph by paragraph. It's as if the one was predominantly used as a template for the other one, even the cell phone number.
Milady, I spoke and I explained everything to Captain van Aert as it happened, and that took a long time. And then when we wrote the testimony, he took it down and he said, "Is this what you're saying?" I said, "Exactly as I explained it." And he wrote it down, and I read through it, and I said, "I agree to that," and I signed it.
Yeah, the fact is, even in that first paragraph, was first your husband's cell number, which appears in his statement, was in your statement and then deleted and substituted with yours.
Yes, so that first paragraph, Captain van Aert, I did not say exactly I am a volwasse vrou, because that's the way the police starts it. So he says, are you a woman? He writes it down. I had to state that this is my ID number. He wrote it down. And he had a way of writing woonagtig. I'm not a professional at taking down this. So the police have a way. They want your ID number and where you live.
That's not the point. We go paragraph by paragraph to show you the striking similarity. The second paragraph, his statement. On the 13th of February 2013, at about 21 hours, my husband and I went to sleep. Yours. On 13th February 2013, my husband and I went to sleep at about 21 to 22 hours.
Yes, Melanie,
only on the time,
there is a difference.
Only a time.
There is a difference, yes, the time difference.
Yes, let's go on. My slaapkamer is op die eerste vloer van die huis. My bedroom is at the first story of the house. His statement. Die slaapkamer is op die eerste vloer aan die kant van die Silverwood landgoed. Then yours. My bed is bykans teen die venster wat oop was, meaning the window was open. That's the next crucial point.
Yeah.
Yours. The window was open. The next crucial.
Yes, sir. We were in the same bedroom.
Yes.
The same bed, same window.
Yes. I'm not talking about whether you were in the same or different bedrooms.
But those are the facts, sir.
It follows that you remember in the same paragraph as his to say the same things. To say, this is when I go to bed. This is where my house was. This is where my bedroom was, and my window was open. The same paragraph as in the paragraph.
Yes, my lady, that's as Captain van Aert asked us.
Yes.
What did you do that evening? What time did you go to bed? It's the same facts.
Let's go to the third paragraph. Gedurende die nag het ek wakker geword. That's how it starts. You can read. How does yours start?
It's the same. I say a vrou wat gil, and he speaks about persoon se gille.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just read the first sentence.
There's similar words, but some of the facts.
Let's just start. It's a template and change slightly. Gedurende die nag het ek wakker geword. That's paragraph 3. Look at his paragraph, your paragraph 3. Gedurende die nag het ek wakker geword. It's exactly the same, and then a slight deviation, but the same message.
Well, lady, I do see that some of the facts do differ.
Yeah.
But yes, we heard the same stuff. The facts do differ.
Ek het vinnig uit die bed geklim, he says. Your husband. My man wat ek wakker geword het uit die bed gespring. Same
lady, that's what he did.
template. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, same template. En na die balkon gehardloop. En you say en na die balkon toe gehardloop. Running to the balcony.
As Milady, and just after that, there's some differences I do see.
Yes, of course, madam, there are some differences,
Yes.
but you don't need absolute extra qualifications to see the striking similarity. And I'm going Of course, there's some small differences, but every paragraph, it's as if, and that's what I'm putting to you and I'm asking you, as if his statement was lying next to the captain, and he takes that paragraph and he says, all right, there's your husband's paragraph, now let's look at yours. And if you take it, that's the point I'm making, you can take your time. I don't want to bore the court. The statement is there. Paragraph by paragraph, the similarities are striking.
Milady, yes. It was the same sequence, more or less. We were in the same house. We went to bed at the same time. We woke up more or less the same time.
How?
There are some facts that are different, and so some facts will be the same, but some will differ.
How is it possible to have striking similarities paragraph by paragraph if his statement was not used in the template? How is that possible?
Milady, Captain van Aert asked us about the sequence of events. So he would ask me, what time did you go to bed? So I say, I went to bed 9 o'clock, between 9 and 10. My husband, I don't know what he did. I wasn't with my husband, so he asked me the sequence of events. I answered them, and he took them down. So I answered on the questions asked. So the sequence was the same as my husband's sequence. We heard the same, more or less, the same thing.
It's just all I'm saying. I'm not taking it any further than that. It is remarkable and it is striking. And I'm not going to deal with every paragraph because it's there for the court to see. If you go paragraph by paragraph, but for some differences that I understand, it is as if, and it leaves in my mind the only probable inference that his statement was the template and that was then used and then your statement was then taken from you.
Lady, that's not how it happened. Captain van Aert has got integrity.
You know, even talking about the call. The call was at 3:16 and the duration 58 seconds. Yours, the call was 3:16, duration 15.
The lady, it was asked.
What paragraph is that?
That was paragraph 8 and the one in paragraph 9. It was 9 in exhibit N, my lady, and it's paragraph 8 in the witness's statement.
Milady, it was asked about the call. It was the same call. There was only one call. It was 16 minutes past 3, and the duration was 58 seconds. So the information is similar because it was the same call for me and for my husband.
Yes. Let's look at the paragraph that I debated with you in paragraph 6, your statement, paragraph 6, where you were giving some interpretations in the court. He starts off differently. He says that he didn't try to phone anyone again.
Excuse me, sorry, what paragraph?
I'm sorry, ma'am. He's paragraph 6.
Yes, exhibit N.
His paragraph is exhibit N and also your paragraph 6. It's a different sentence introduction. He says that after he says he went to the balcony. After the first sentence, he says he went to the balcony, paragraph 6, and you say, my man is weer uit na die balkon, he went to the balcony. After the first sentence.
Yes, my lady, that's true, but it must be seen in context with all the rest of the paragraph.
Yeah, let's
that
go on.
differs.
Let's take your paragraph 6. The second sentence. Your husband. Ek het die vrou gehoor gil. I heard the woman screaming. Your sentence. Ek hoor die vrou gil. I heard the woman scream. En toe 4 skote. Your husband. En toe 'n sassie skote. That and two. Ek het nie getel nie. I understand there's a difference. He thought it was 5 to 6. You were 4. Then we go on. His statement. Die laaste gil, if you go down. Die laaste gil, the last scream of the yelling, was just after the last shot. Plus minus 1 to 2 seconds. In Afrikaans, die laaste gil was net na die laaste skoot. Plus minus 1 tot 2 secondes. In jou statement. Die vrou die laaste gil gegee, ongeveer 2 secondes na die skoot opgehou. You see what I mean? I can take you to all the other paragraphs as well. It's striking.
My lady, that's what I heard, and I'm glad to hear my husband heard exactly the same.
I'm afraid that is not too honest. You know what he's saying. It's not glad to hear. It's not new. You know that.
So I did not read this statement.
Yes, yes, of course not. Of course not.
But I object to that remark that Mr. Rich just made. It's sarcastic and it shouldn't be made. And he should
I agree.
apologize.
I
to the
withdraw
witness.
that.
I
apologize.
agree.
My lady, it's absolutely right.
Yes.
I agree. I apologize. Let's now look at reliability, dealt with credibility. Do you know, and I've dealt with this yesterday, but I will be more detailed. What it sounds like when an English willow wood, that's a cricket bat, that's what it's made of, makes hard contact against a Meranti door. That was the door, the wooden door that they Meranti door. Do you know what it sounds like?
Milady, I've never heard that, no.
So, am I not correct that you cannot say you're a distance of 177 meters away and you're inside your house and there's something happening in the house 177 meters away, that a cricket bat, when someone hits a cricket bat, that it would not resemble gunshot wounds. That sound would not resemble.
Milady, I've heard gunshots before.
I know.
What I heard was gunshots.
I know you say you heard gunshot wounds, and I've dealt with your experience going to a shooting range once when you were young and so on. That I know. I'm saying something completely different. Can you say that when you hit the cricket bat, that type of cricket bat hard against a Meranti door, that sound would not resemble a sound sounding like a gunshot?
Milady, I can't think it will sound the same, but only an expert in sound will be able to verify that. But I don't think so.
But you don't know.
I doubt it.
But you don't know. Oh, you will not make that
I
concession.
I really can't see that a bat and a gunshot sounds the same.
Why? What is your expertise?
A gunshot is extremely loud.
And how's a
travels.
bat? Is that not extremely loud when you hit the door? If you don't know it, is it not extremely loud?
Well, I'm sure it's loud, but I think if I have to hit a bat against the door and I have to pull a trigger here in the court, the gunshot will be louder than the cricket bat.
177 meters away. Do you know what it sounds like?
I know what a
When you-
gunshot sounds like 177
I know
meters
that.
away.
That's what you believe. Do you know what it sounds like when you hit a bat hard against a Meranti door? Do you know what it sounds like?
No, milady, I've never hit a bat against a Meranti door.
Do you know what it sounds like when the accused, Mr. Oscar Pistorius, is anxious and he screams? Do you know if it sounds like a woman or not?
Milady, I never heard him screaming. I only heard him calling for help. I only heard a man calling for help, that's all.
Do you know what it sounds like, or if you never heard him scream?
I've heard Mr. Pistorius, if he's the person in that house with the gunshots. I've heard him call for help. I've never heard him screaming.
Maybe you did, that you didn't realize it was him.
Milady, that was definitely a female I
Yes.
heard screaming.
Of course, understand what you're saying. Now, the next one. You denied yesterday that what could have woken you were the gunshots. You said when you woke up, you heard the sounds of a woman screaming. You remember?
That's correct. That's what I heard.
The reason why you say there could not have been gunshots that actually woke you up, of course you wouldn't know you were sleeping, was because according to you, the only 4 shots were fired and that you heard. That's your reason.
Yes, I heard 4 shots.
That's your reason, Gibby. Because we know you slept. The reason why you say that is not that woke me up, because I know as I stand here that his version is that he fired 4 shots and I heard 4 shots. Therefore, it could not have woken me.
Milady, I know gunshots. I heard them after the call. Yes, I did not hear other gunshots. I only heard 4 gunshots.
We've gone through the cricket bat and that you don't know the sound that it would make. But that, I'm just getting the reason why you're saying it. You're satisfied with that?
Yes, I only heard 4 gunshots.
to put to you some parts of his version. And please just try to stand back and listen to it objectively. And I know you have your ideas. You made that quite clear. But just listen to it. Because it reminds me, when we study about reliability, how this eminent English barrister identified persons who robbed him, and he was absolutely confident. And it was shown in court it was not them. That's what they teach us when it comes to reliability, that we must be careful. So what I'm asking you, just stand back for a moment. His version is, after the shooting, and when it dawned upon him that it might have been Reeva, he opened his bedroom sliding doors. He did other things as well, but I'm dealing with vis-a-vis your evidence, and shouted for help, amongst other things. And we say that's the help that you earned. That is the help that you earned. Any comment?
Milady, I'm wondering how that would be possible, because just before he shouted for help, the female shouted for help.
Yes, that's your interpretation, because
It was distinctly two different voices. I could hear it very clearly.
I understand you're not a voice expert, you cannot say that. But what I understand is, in your mind, it's a woman's voice to one, it's different to the man's. I understand that. I'm talking about him shouting. He was anxious. And what we say to you, but that's not what I'm dealing with now. That other voice was also him, where it pitched. But I'm dealing with a different point. He shouted help to the outside. All we know in your version, you did hear a man shouting help. Not so?
I did hear, yes.
We also know one thing. In terms of your version, it would make no sense when a man is about to kill and then killed his girlfriend for him to shout help. It would not fit into that scenario. Not so.
Milady, I think the reasons and the feelings should be asked to Mr. Pistorius if he takes the stand.
I'm not asking about the feelings and the reasons. I put to you a very fair question. And if you don't want to answer it, we'll draw our inferences. And I'll submit it to the court.
Please, can you ask the question again?
The court would just bear with me. I just received the note now. Just a second. I apologize for that, but I just received the note and distracted.
No, that's fine.
Just an objective fact. If there's a man about to kill his girlfriend with a firearm, she runs away, seeks safety in the toilet, and is shot. One thing that's inconsistent with that is a man in that same house during that time period shouting for help, to the extent that you also reconcile that shouting with people being attacked in a house. It's inconsistent. That's all I'm saying.
It was part of the sequence of events.
Yeah, I'm asking you something else. I'm not asking you part of the sequence. If you have a difficulty to make any concession, that's fine. I'll argue to the court.
So what are you
say it's
asking?
inconsistent to those facts sketched to you.
Milady, I can only think that Mr. Pistorius must answer why he called for help. I was not there.
Madam,
I can just say why.
Madam,
What I heard.
you know,
I don't know. She shouted for help. He shouted for help. I don't know why he did that.
all that I get from your answer, and I put it to you because I'm going to argue to the court. Sometimes when it's an obvious concession, you will still not make that, insofar as in your mind you think that may assist the accused, you will still not make even an obvious concession. That's your evidence. Because to me it's obvious. But you will not do it because it might be good for him. That's you as a witness. That's what I put to you. Do you want to comment on that?
Let's hear the comment and then let's go.
Lady, I'm as honest as I can be to the court. I'm just saying what I heard, and I'm giving my story as clearly as I can.
Shall I ask you a last time and then move on and see if you're willing to consider that?
No.
On a version that a man has a gun, he wants to kill his girlfriend, he wants to shoot her. She runs away from him, she hides in the toilet, and he shot her through the toilet door. One part of your evidence is inconsistent of your observations, what you heard. And that is a man shouting for help in that series of events to the extent that also that shouting caused you to think they were attacked and there was a housebreak.
The lady, afterwards, after I heard what happened, the only thing I can now sit and ask is, was it a mockery? I don't know.
Yes.
I'm not Mr. Pistorius. I do not know. I cannot answer on behalf of him.
You've
I don't
answered.
know.
I'm very happy with your answer because that's what I'm going to argue. You will even call it a mockery other than to make an obvious concession. That's what I put here. You will even go so far, man, to call it a mockery with no facts, just not to make a single concession that can help that man. That's your evidence.
This witness is now badgered and saying, you called it a mockery. She was asked for an opinion. She gave an opinion. If the counsel doesn't like the opinion, he should carry on, madam. Madam, I apologize sincerely. Milady, I apologize.
Yeah, that's fine.
He should carry on, milady.
That's fine.
But that question has now been answered.
Yes.
We should move on.
Yes, Mr. Roo, I really think you have exhausted this.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
I've made it point. Thank you. Madam.
Oh my gosh, that was funny. Scully, our parliament is a joke, but I also love it. I love this country so much. Our humor is top tier, like absolutely. I just want to see if I can find this thing. Okay, so I need to reshare. So our president basically used our hard-earned money to build a house, and that was going on at the same time. And so people were joking about Barry Room must go and help the president. This is the same Listen Properly president.
If you listen to our good friends, the opposition, hey, I'm telling you, you can think you live in another world. You know, some people who could not pronounce Kanja, they've now learned Nkanja, Nkanja, Nkanja. Even if you tell them the Nkanja report is being processed, is going to come. I mean, 3 investigations have been made. Nkanja, even if we are discussing very serious matters, I mean, stand up, point of order. Yes, Nkanja. It wasn't Judge Cox.
I'm sorry, but Gad, I've got that on speed dial. I use that all the time because this is what I sound like when I'm trying to read
Our
numbers.
membership figures stood at 769,850 700, listen properly, 769,820 and 70 members, down from 100.2 million in 2012. That our membership figure stood at
wait.
700, listen properly.
Oh, that's so funny because that's exactly how I read numbers. My parents need a refund. Oh, I think I've just reached the point of overtired. He is. And do you know what the weirdest thing is, right? So I used to work at the national broadcaster. And so he came for interviews. And people said, it's so hard to believe that there's like all of this tension because he's just the loveliest, happiest person. And he's just so nice to be around. So yeah, that's probably also why he sounds so funny. Gerda, I'm so glad. Now we need to teach recovery addict to say Gerda, not Gerda. Gerda K. Okay, let's head over. Don't forget when you reach there to say Mac Raid. Thank you for hanging out. Wait. Bug gifted a membership. Steve gifted a membership. And did any of them go to Jen? Oh, Tater Tot got it from Bug. That's a cute name. Oh, and Scully got it from Steve. So now we have more South Africans in the members. Love it. We just need a South African lawyer. I did email someone. Okay. My eyes are both itchy and watering from laughing at the same time. I swear I just want to do a stream of like 2 or 3 hours of Parliament jokes because it's so funny. All right. I will see you there. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you for the insane amount of gifted memberships. And if I come on later for some Judge Fleischer, I will link Recovery Addicts and you can decide where you want to be, but don't feel like you need to hang out in mine. Like there's no obligation. It's just a bit of variety. I'm going to focus now though. See you later. Everyone on the bus, arms in, feet in. Listen properly. Here we go.